Rob, what makes a great sales leader? It's a difficult job. So what, in your experience, makes someone really right for the role?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's not an easy one to answer because it will vary to some extent, but I think there are some core elements that I would expect to see in a great sales leader. One of the first ones is I would actually expect them to be quite good at sales. They don't have to be the top sales performer. Tiger Woods' golf coach isn't as good as Tiger Woods, or he wouldn't be his coach. He'd be playing against Tiger Woods to win the big money or whatever. But I think what sales leaders do have to do is have to have a really good understanding of what it takes to be a great salesperson. That's kind of I think it'd be very difficult to do that job if you were just parachuted in from previously a finance director or previously an ops director. I'm not saying they couldn't do it, but I just think if they'd never been out selling themselves and didn't understand the rigor of selling, that would be quite difficult. And I think it'd be difficult for two reasons. First of all, they wouldn't be able to understand when things were right and wrong and what was going wrong in the sales process. And I think the other piece is a bit more emotive. It's to do with sales is quite a lonely job. You're out there in the field. You have targets on your shoulders. The company is expecting you to generate a certain amount of revenue. I often think they're almost like the special forces of a business. They're out there on their own. And the problem is they wouldn't respect a leader who didn't get it. I certainly, when I was in frontline sales, I expected my boss, if my boss said, I need you to do X, or I think you should do this activity, I need to be confident, not only would you be willing to do it yourself, but you'd probably be quite good at it as well, because that would give me the confidence then to go out and do it. So I think that's a kind of given. They do need to be good at sales. But I think the mistake a lot of businesses make is they take their top sales performer and they promote them. And that's a disaster most of the time if they don't give enough thought to it. So it's not a bad thing, but you've got to give thought to what you're now going to do. You take your best salesperson, you turn them into a sales manager, two things happen. First of all, you've just lost your best sales performer, so your revenue drops straight away because they're not doing that anymore, or at least they're diluted in what they're doing. The second thing that happens is they tend to, if they're not properly trained, what they will tend to do is try and get all the salespeople to do what they did. And they had their own personality, they had their own style, and they'll just get annoyed with these other salespeople who aren't doing it the way they did it. And so what you've done is take a great salesperson, lost them, and now you've got a rubbish sales manager. That's not intelligent. And so I think great sales leaders, yes, they have to have that, but what you have to add into that then is strategic thinking. That's a key element, first of all. They need to be able to look at the bigger picture. They need to be able to understand the marketing strategy, understand the rigor of marketing. They need to know all that because they need to understand where sales fits within it. So they really need to have that bigger picture strategic mindset. I think the other piece is they need to be great coaches, because great sales leaders need to look at the break down the activity, break down the content of it, and be able to say, that's where it's going wrong, or that's where it's going right. How do we replicate it more? So, they need to be able to step in and coach. So I'd say the three things are good at sales themselves enough to be able to understand it, good at strategy, big picture, and good at coaching, good at field sales-based coaching, going out with their people, actually helping their people to raise their game and understanding where to apply that coaching. If you've got that, you've probably got a pretty good sales leader. You've got a combination of those levels going on. And that's not easy to find. A lot of the time, I do think it does make sense to grow your own. And I don't see any harm with taking one of your best sales performers if they show the attributes of wanting to be more of a grown-up leader, actually managing a sales operation. Give them the training, give them the development necessary, and you'll probably turn into a good sales leader.
It's really interesting what you said about a lot of companies take their best salesperson and just promote them to you. Because in my mind, that's akin to kind of making Messi your next football manager.
Exactly.
And actually, he may not be able to do it just because the empathy as well, because nobody else can do on the pitch what he can.
Exactly.
So everybody's got less talent than he has. Yes. Trying to manage people, he doesn't know what it is to have less talent.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of the dynamic of that, because in a sales in a sales team, what happens when a more average performer, not somebody who's no good, but somebody who's more average, is then promoted to then manage
high performers,
the guy that's great? And also, does the person that's great look at them and go, well, why did I get overlooked? So I'm just wondering, the logic of it makes complete sense, but the dynamic, if you're a CEO, and you're looking to appoint someone in that role, and you're looking across the team, there might be a few people you dismiss. But when you look at that other bit, what's the dynamics of that? How does that work?
Well, I think it's the attributes, isn't it? I think what you're looking for is people who show a hunger and attribute to actually lead other people. Leadership is when it doesn't matter whether it's sales leadership or any form of leadership. Being a leader requires you to have a higher level of accountability. It requires you to take ownership of the bigger picture. That's what leaders do. And then it requires you to be able to inspire and coach other people and help other people. So, I think that's what you're looking for. Is they've got to have those attributes. As I say, I think in sales, it's just useful if it's important that they actually do understand sales and have been there and done it. But they don't have to be the best salesperson. And I think that's the realistic conversations you need to have. The other thing I've noticed over the years is a lot of the time, people who are top sales performers, particularly if they've been in traditionally hunting roles, they often don't really like being a sales manager. They get promoted because it was like, that was what you do, isn't it? And I just think the company's got to have enough flexibility to say, do you know what? If they're a top sales performer, let's just keep on paying them to do that. Let's let Messi be Messi. Let's not try and turn him into a football manager. Let's let him do his job, put the ball in the net. And I just think just creating that understanding in the business of the role is different. It's a different job. It's not just you are best sales performer, so therefore you should be the sales director. That is not a valid statement. There are other attributes and skill sets that you need to look at. And if they're not there, you need to put them in. You need to give the people the help they need.